Where have I been all this
time.
Just existing. You know, summer vacation rolled around and I wanted to just relax, play a lot of games, got addicted to a lot of gachas, had enough time to quit cold turkey and then immediately come back. Yeah, but this isn't the topic for this video now, is it? If I had to explain the story, I was literally just laying down on the couch. I can't remember if I was playing... I think I was playing Baldur's Gate 3. And a weird idea just occurred to me where, you know, in research magazines and articles, you usually have an impact factor. I was thinking, how could someone create something similar but for video games? I know scoring methods already exist, but they're really subjective and misused. They hardly follow their own principles. So I wanted to create a new method, just be as rigid, I guess you could say, as possible in setting objectives, you know, parameters, working out the equations and the math. And yes, the game influence score, so that's what I ended up calling it, the GIS, ends up evaluating a game based on critical reception, cultural impact, community engagement, sales and commercial success, and innovation. So these are the parameters that I ended up using, and the things get complicated from there, because in terms of critical reception, you know, we needed to have a good number of critic reviews, also a good number of user reviews. We needed a threshold for how much weight the critics and the users should have, depending on the type of game. God, just the amount of work it took to make these formulas, it was insane. Also in terms of this discussion, you know, I wanted to weigh in how much impact a discussion of a video game has, but there's also positive and negative. And for example, we needed to have about the usually psychology has the whole 7 to 3, like you need the 7 positive experiences to outweigh 3 negative ones, but I went a bit more lenient and did a 65-35 threshold. And the whole point was just to have also a dynamic weighted measure for discussion, like how much one would counteract the other. And you also have cultural impact, which is how many references it has. Just like how in, you know, scientific articles, there's a fuck ton of resources. So in this case, it's how many times something is cited. In this case, it will be how many times the game is referenced in some way or other in other forms of media. And man, the community engagement just ended up being created by molding various things together, modding, active player bases, you know, fan content, the longevity, and sales of converso use is self-explanatory. It's just straight up, unit sold, and it also needed to be weighted based on, if it was a AAA game or an independent title, the sales figures are different for each. And what makes a critical success or a commercial success in a AAA is far from what makes a critical success for an independent game, like an indie game, an indie title. We also have the innovation score, so introducing new mechanics, developing technology, furthering storytelling elements, and how these can have a bigger impact in the future of the industry. But this was like a whole night I just spent just hyper focused on this, and thank God for some friends and other help I had from outside to make the whole formula work. It is a nightmare. I also had some scores calculated, just some examples to see if it made sense. So I ended up calculating the game influence score for Oblivion, and I also ended up calculating the score for The Messenger as an indie title. I also ended up calculating the influence score for Palworld as a AA example. By the way, the overall formula, where is it? It's this. What else? Ah, yes, the critic reception and user reception is based entirely on Metacritics, so that I could have the highest aggregation of user reviews and critic reviews. I really don't know how to segue from this. I just wanted to make a new form to evaluate games. I guess I wasted like 2 days of my life just fudging around with numbers for a while and seeing if it was working correctly and being fair. That was the most important. It needed to make sense depending on whether it was a AAA title, a AA, or an independent title. And it needed to have so many variables. It needed to range from everything from sales to how good the game actually is, how many people are talking about it, how many people are playing it, how optimized it is. It was a whole shebang, but hey, thanks for AI existing and making my life easier. So yeah, that's everything.